Good morning. Happy Monday. It is a beautiful day here today. It is 7:16 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. It is 9:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Rita. How you doing this morning, man?
Good morning, my brother. How are you doing? Blessed to be alive and always, as always, having fun talking to you. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How was your weekend?
It was good. We rested a little bit. The weather wasn't that nice. We went to a zoo, like an outside zoo. So kind of spend time with the family because they don't see me that much. I'm stuck in this dungeon here. So we went out just have fun, take it easy because especially with the COVID, there is a ton of it in Florida. So we always worry about where we go, but just stayed low and have fun. Watch some football. My old boy Brady, he's doing great with Tampa and just having fun. How about you?
Man, it was good, man. I can't complain about a thing, except, we went hiking yesterday and, man, I am in so much pain, Rita. I'm in so much pain. My back hurts. Everything hurts this morning. But it's all good though, man. I can't complain about a lot. But, I actually, before we get started this morning, Rita, I thought it was a relevant topic that I think we need to talk about, which is specifically related to our standards. Like there's certain individuals on this call this morning specifically that have higher standards than others.
Yes,
And
sir.
because they have higher standards than others, they're able to achieve more than other people at the same time.
Yes, sir.
And, I think it's not really related to the goals, Rita. I don't think it's the goals. I think it is their standards. People have a standard to be on this call every single day. People have a standard to talk to a certain amount of people every day. People have a standard to get a certain amount of leads each week. I think that standard is what keeps a lot of people in business and able to sustain long term. Rita, I'm excited this morning, man. We got a special guest on the line with us today.
Yes, sir.
Give us a little bit of feedback about him, Rita.
Well, we used to work together. Every time, we invite people. We have invited like big people here. We have, we had like, $100 million companies here, people, right? So like, we had the Frank Buses, we had like big IMOs, who have built things. But I got more exciting, inviting people like, my buddy here, because he's just like, one of us. Because sometimes, when you have listeners, listening to stories of someone, you know, who has built a $250 million FE company. Yeah, it is great. Yeah, it is a dream, but it's far, it's like far in between, right? They see
It's
it
not
like, wow, that's
relatable.
far. Right. So now with this wonderful gentleman, as you know, every time we invite someone, we want them to say their name and stuff like that. It makes it like much more attractive to the listeners. He's a hustler, he's a hard worker. We worked together at the old IMO before. He's committed to his job. He's always working. He is always on the field. He never let anything hold him back. He loves life and he works hard for it. He want a nice car, nice boat, nice house, nice everything, but he worked for it and he works his ass off. And it's great to have him with us because I want the listeners to hear his story of hard work and planning and making sure that the laziness stays away from his book. Just make sure that he plans, he goes out, he prepares, implements, and get a job done. So with further ado, he's right here, our brother, and Jamal, you take over.
I appreciate that, Rita. Well, to expand on that, he's an executionist at the highest level.
Hmm.
And in addition to that, he's in South Carolina in Myrtle Beach. I used to go down there all the time when I was stationed at Fort Bragg when I was in the Army. And, it's really glad to see that there's people over there still doing their thing, even in this business.
Hmm.
So, Jedidiah, welcome, man. How you doing this morning? You're on mute. See, Rita,
Yeah,
look at
hit
this
that
Zoom.
unmute button.
Yes.
There he
Oh,
is.
there we go.
Hey, good morning,
Hey,
man.
good morning. Good morning, Jamal. Good morning, Rita. How are you guys?
We're
Good morning,
doing well,
brother.
man. We're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And Jedidiah,
Not a problem.
before we get started, man, I want to kind of preface this conversation with the understanding as far as what you're doing currently, what got you into the business in the first place, and kind of, how we get to this conversation that we're having here today.
Well, I mean, that's an excellent question. I guess like the first thing that got me started, obviously, what was the money I seen, and I seen somebody excelling in life. I asked him what he did. He told me, and told me how much he was making. Told me the opportunity, was kind of unlimited, and I didn't really believe it at first, and then I kind of started asking myself, like, what am I doing now? And kind of looked around, and I was doing very well at the time. I was in the military. I was working a union job. I had a rental property, but I was sort of draining myself. And I know we can all relate to the feeling of, kind of not getting the most you can out of life, but putting so much work in, you're trying to squeeze everything you can. But then, just kind of, like I said, just talked to myself one day, and I was like, hey, listen, there's something more. I got to put my energy into something, and I'm really truly looking just for one thing. And that's when insurance popped up. And like I said, I took a stab at it. I worked for a captive company. I, pretty much studied everything I could from, the top producers, from what they were doing. And like you were saying earlier, Jamal, standards, that is the big, that's the big statement right there. What do you hold yourself accountable for? What does your standards mean to yourself? And that's truly one of the things that actually pushed me, was actually that word itself. So, I just started holding myself to a higher standard, no matter what anybody was telling me, or no matter what, like I said, even family members or coworkers or anything. I just held myself to a higher standard, and always wanted to do better,
And what did that standard look like to you when you think about your standards?
My standard, what did that standard look like to me? My standard was going to be something that no one else could touch, or take away, actually. Take away, because there's so much things that when I was coming up and I was doing all these different jobs just to break 100,000 a year, I kind of left it in other people's hands. And my standard was, I'm not going to put my life in somebody else's hands, and I was going to do everything I could to make something my own.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I appreciate you sharing that. So, I mean, when you initially got into the business, were you actually selling life insurance, final expense insurance, health insurance? What were you selling when you initially got into the business?
So when I firstly got into the business, I was just doing life insurance, final expense.
Okay. And it was final expense, simplified issue?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just final expense only.
All right. And, at a pretty, understanding where you started off, kind of where are you at now in your business? Like, what does your business look like now?
Do you mean production or?
No. So, well, let me do this, man. So in regards to production goes, you guys, Jed here on the phone with us, this man writes a lot of business, I was actually blown away. I was like, man, this man is writing $30,000 a month in final expense. How is he doing this? And then he's always grinding. He's always, you do a great job documenting what your day-to-day looks like. I think you do a very good job documenting that, where people can get a perspective. And I think that perspective is so powerful because, it removes that veil of what is this going to really look like for me? And one thing I feel like you uniquely do is, you provide that perspective, but not only that, you are able to show what the fruits of that work and that hard work looks like. You know, you enjoy yourself, you enjoy your time with your wife. I love seeing that. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. But, you know,
Thank you.
I know that this insurance business is a monster business. This is a monster business. It's a high volume, high repetition business. And, you know, you going from $30,000 a month to now doing what you're doing now, I want you to kind of expand on what that transition looked like, because go ahead and explain it.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, we always, you know, we have our good months, we have our bad months. Once again, what you were saying about how, you know, your day-to-day activity would definitely be accountability and putting yourself on a schedule. Back when I was writing maybe $10,000 a month, I didn't really have, I mean, I had a really good support system where I was, but I wasn't, you know, I wasn't really taking care of what I needed to take care of. You know, and there was other equations and stuff that was going on at that time. But really, when I got into being like a broker and I could control my own destiny, that's really when I started to, like, that word you're using again, standard, is hold myself to a higher standard. When you sit there and it's Sunday night, instead of, you know, going out and getting plastered and everything like that, like, you know, my Browns were playing last night, and I could have went out and, you know, had a great time, overdid it or whatever, but I held myself to a higher standard. I stayed in, I watched the game. I knew that I had to get up on Monday morning. I still wasn't feeling well. But hey, you know, like clockwork, that's what you have to do. You have to sit down. And I think one of the biggest things, when you're starting off, you really want to just break up the month, you know, by weeks and then by days. You know, a lot of people I know in this industry, they want to go out and they want to write, you know, 10, 15,000 easily in the first week. And it's like, okay, like, you know, hold on a second, you know, you got to have a plan. And I truly think that sticking to your plan, breaking things down day by day, going out there, hitting the phones when you need to hit the phones as hard as you do, you know, and hitting those door knocks, you know, and just the activity. It's really all about activity. If you remain active and you're constantly holding yourself to a standard, there goes that word again, and accountable, you're definitely going to keep moving forward. You're definitely going to outproduce those that may be a little bit more talented in the business because you're working more. And that's one of the things that I always knew about myself is, you know, before I got a little bit more talented, is I was going to out hustle anybody. I was going to be at work, ready to go, trying to figure out some way that I could get my name out there. And that's ultimately really what put me in the position that I am today, is just my hustle. And I truly, truly believe that, you know, if you hustle, you can outperform anybody that is in your category. And that's really what I stick to.
I love that.
Yes, sir. No doubt. If I'll ask you just one question, when it comes to, you know, your drive, you know, because we see a lot of agents these days, they kind of struggle, you know. Well, we were all struggling. We work together, you and I. The drive that you have and the will to succeed and, you know, that warrior mentality that you have, is it something you were born with? Is it something you were taught by your dad, your family member? Is it something that, where did it come from? Because we see a lot of agents right now, they give up right away. They don't want to work hard. They always blame leads and blames whomever.
Right.
Where does it come from? I always try to put my finger in it, and I just can't find that pulse, you know, so I can pass it from one agent to the other. Like, where does yours come from?
Where does my drive come from?
The drive, determination, the go-getter, the attitude that you have, man.
So I mean, I grew up, I mean, not poor, but I grew up, you know, wearing the same kind of clothes, you know, maybe, you know, here and there, where, you know, it just poor. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I grew up poor, boy. We can say that, you and I, we were poor as shit.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, not poor, but like poor enough that you knew you were poor. You know, I mean, we had there's a couple nights, months, and, you know, utilities and stuff, and I'll tell you what, my determination to make it always came from seeing somebody else do something that they said, that someone else told them that they couldn't do. I would say one of my biggest things was anytime I ever wanted something, it always came down to not having enough money. And that's really, really what pushed me, because I was so upset, because I did, and I still do. Like, my wife tells me all the time, the determination, once I put my mind to something, no matter what it is, I will succeed, or I will succeed the best I can, and I'll fail forward, So I guess not having anything growing up and always being put out because of the money factor was really my determination. So I just woke up one day and I just told myself, I'm going to grind my ass off until that can never be a factor. And that's really what it came down to, is always being told no.
Yeah, it's amazing, that a lot of people who were born poor, a lot of people who have seen their families struggle, especially mom and dad struggle. We have something in us that, that's something you can buy, like a go-getter, like more than a lion. Like, you have this drive that everything is possible, because you never want to go back to the life that you had when you were a child, or you never want your kids to experience what you have experienced. And that's the one thing that sometimes I see agents, fail in understanding this business, because, a lot of them are in their teens and 20s, right? And they grew up in their own rooms. Dad will buy them a Ford Taurus, when they're young, and they give them money, and they have an iPhone and an iPad and this and that. And then, they go to college, and then they want to get a job. They get into the insurance business, and they be like, wait a minute, I have to work 5 days a week. I have to buy leads.
Right.
I have to call all the time. That's the problem. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, how they always tell you not to forget your past. That's another thing that I do live by. And I always think about that, because my past is there to scare the shit out of me. And excuse me for my language. I know you're not, supposed to swear on these calls, but, your good, past should scare you. If it doesn't scare you, then then just get out. But don't forget why you got into the business. Obviously we're here because of the money, and then we're also here to help families and help as many people as we can. But don't forget why, don't forget your past, because that's another thing that motivates me as well. Is just, that feeling, just anytime that I'm like down, or the leads don't want to work, or I'm overpaying for leads, or my schedule goes, or I get a charge back. I don't sit there and sulk. What I do is I buy more leads, I do more activity, and I get out of that hole, and then I figure a way to keep moving forward.
And you just nailed it.
Hold on, Rita. I gotta stop you there, man. We gotta go into this.
Talk about having leads and buying more leads, because. Yeah.
So when it comes down to leads, man, like, that's one thing that I know you believe in very heavily. So when you initially got into the business, what type of leads were you working when you initially got started?
Well, from my captive side, which we won't go there as far as the name of the company, but we could just say that the company I was working for, they had bottom of the barrel leads, and one of the things that they had was like the best training, and that's what really helped me the most. As far as being a broker, I was working, believe it or not, B&C leads. I still work B&C leads. And I am not kidding whatsoever. I actually, I'll tell you what, I love B&C leads because you can get them so cheap, and ROI is so ridiculously high.
So for people who don't know what that is, what is a B&C lead?
So like a B lead is anyone that hasn't been seen over a year. Or wait, hold on. A B lead is, I'm sorry. A B lead is a lead that is over a year old, and a C lead is a lead that's over 3 to 5 years old. So
wait. Are you telling me that you can sell a lead that's a year old?
I have, for sure you can. And actually, those are the best ones because here's the other thing. And this, I'm not making this up. I'm not even kidding you. I probably have like 2,500 leads in one county and 2,500 in a different county. And the best thing about those leads are I paid next to nothing for them, and the ROI is so high. And here's the other thing, and this is going to blow your mind. If somebody bought insurance, right, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and you're a broker now, right? What is the best thing about being a broker? You could always, most of the time, I'm going to still say 9 times out of 10. If somebody bought insurance and you go see that lead, you're going to replace that and help that client,
Find the better.
And
yes.
You're going to find a better deal. So, worst case scenario, they pass away or you're not able to help them. But how much did you pay for that lead? You didn't pay $20, $30 for it. I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't tell like a brand new agent, hey, go out there and only run B and C leads. I mean, I would definitely mix them in. But once you're established and hey, I could take 20 no's in a day and keep on chucking forward, then I'd be like, hey, invest, because you definitely do want to have a variety of leads for sure.
Right. That's the issue that I see it with my agents right now, because when you said year old, I was selling 2, 3, 4, 5 years old leads from our old, IMO. When we had access to the leads, I just go out there and just buy 1,000 of them, 500 of them, just spend the $600. The difference is that we were doing field sales. So I was buying those leads. I call, make appointment. They want to buy it. They don't want to buy it. They are interested. They're not interested. I'm gonna door knock your house tomorrow. Don't come to my house.
Right.
No, tomorrow I'm at your house. You said, I told you don't show up. Oh, I that's why I showed up. You sounded mad. I just want to make sure you're okay. You know how it is. But these days, I mean, you are on a field right now. A lot of agents are afraid to go, and they are struggling so much with details.
And I have to cut you off right there, and I apologize, but
please don't, buddy.
I told my wife
never apologize.
The houses or the people that you don't want to see, or you get the feeling that like, oh, I'm going to get yelled at or whatever. Those are my most expensive sales. Those truly are. The ones that I'm driving past and I'm like, oh my God, there's 4 cars out, somebody's outside. I may circle around the block and, get some confidence, but those are where my biggest sales come from. And the ones that are the hardest on the phone are the softest in person. It's the ones that are really nice on the phone that you have to worry about.
Yeah. Wow. I got another question for you as well. Now, in regards to COVID, this has caused a lot of people to have to pivot, transition, do a ton of different things during this time. Did you transition at the peak of COVID back in March of last year? Did you transition over the phone, or did you maintain yourself specifically in the field?
So I'm going to be honest with you. At first, when I did not transition. I don't, me personally, I don't believe, in my own opinion, that I'm very good with selling over the phone, because there's just too many different variables. But for me, I actually took off the first 2-3 months to be completely honest. And thank God I could do that, but I was able to. There's so much stuff that you can do in person, checking the cash value, checking different policies, and being able to, persuade them way better in person than over the phone. So I don't really believe in telesales personally.
Okay.
Yeah, field sales. I always tell people, I said, field sales is the bag of money. Telesales is those crumbs that drops, but there is still a lot of crumbs out there to be picked up. If you really want to make money, and a lot of money, nothing like field sales. You still can make a lot of money on telesales, but nothing like field sales, because field sales agent has over 74% chance to sell more than a telesales agents when they go out door knock and make presentations face to face.
I don't think there's any don't think there's any confusion there, Rita. I mean, honestly, that's the truth. I mean, as far as being in front of people and trying to talk to them over the phone, I don't think that is. But the magnitude of scale over the phone and face to face, completely different. I'm telling you, I can talk to 100 people over the phone, but there's no way that you, Jedidiah, can ever go knock 100 doors in a day. That would be very hard to do.
Yeah. No,
yeah,
and
I mean, my knuckles were bleeding, bro.
Yeah.
As hard as you knock, Rita, that is very true, man. As hard as you knock on those doors, that is very true. But, kind of speaking on that a little bit more. So, you were able to be in a position where you were able to take a couple months off when COVID was at its peak and there was a lot of uncertainty, which is a blessing. Now, let's kind of talk about some of the things that allow you to do that, because people hear that and like, take the months out, then, now it's a sense of unrelatability. Like, how are you able to do that? Like, I know you got a couple, rental properties and things like that, but in regards to being in a position where you're able to take a couple months off of not producing, when in Final Expense, it's not a very big residual based business. So there's not a lot of residuals that come with Final Expense. So how were you able to sustain yourself at the peak of COVID, taking that much time off?
Sure. I mean, that's a fantastic question. And to tell you the truth, Jamal, I don't have any other income. I don't have no rental properties or anything no more. My heart and soul is into my own business. So, if I take a month off or whatever, it's because, I've been saving. Most of the things that I have today are all paid for. And if they're not, it's only in my house and my car. So being financially free is a crazy thing. I'm actually getting my residuals for my Medicare for the first time, which is this year. So I've only been doing Medicare for going on 2 years, which is awesome. But back when COVID hit, like I said, I did not have them. So being responsible, putting yourself in the best scenario that you can. And when I say that, meaning not having, an expensive car when you're a brand new agent, not having, credit card debt, not having all this other debt, like minimize your debt. That's really what it comes down to, is like, you don't want to come into this industry and ball out. Your numbers will speak for, itself. You want to come in, especially when you're a brand new agent, or even, a newer agent, you want to come in and save. Because you don't want to wake up one morning and get a huge chargeback and be like, oh, wow, I can't pay that. Well, not only can you not pay that, you have bills coming in. So that $2,000 chargeback plus your bills, you're negative $4,000 before the day is even starting. So it really comes down to just back to the hustle and just believing in yourself to know, like, okay, hey, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I've been working very, very hard. I have a good savings. I don't have that many bills, and remaining calm, and just kind of like you said, holding yourself to that standard. I know I keep repeating that, but it's the only word that's really sticking out the most right now, is because once you hold yourself to something and you're accountable, the sales are going to come all the time. They will. It's pretty much just like a lottery. It's just when it's going to happen is the biggest thing. But if you can put yourself in the best, situation to where you don't have to worry about your bills, you're always hustling and grinding, you have other sources of income if you're that fortunate. That's the way that you truly get ahead, and that you're able to be financially free.
Yes, sir. Right now, the issue that a lot of IMOs are dealing with is a lot of these agents who don't have a lot of experience on telesales, even though the telesales platform is there, because you have 10 agents coming in, one is blowing up the doors, and then maybe 4 of them are doing okay, and then the rest, they don't do anything because it's hard for them. So I mean, talk to us a little bit about when, which is the system is the same when you go out there and sell. Talk to us about a little bit how were you planning your routes when you were buying these age leads? I mean, I used to do the same thing. 2 years old, I used to buy a ton of them, make appointments, door knock. Like, how did you go from transitioning from, having, let's say, a bad week into having a huge week, and what are the changes that you have implemented during that week? So hopefully our listeners can try to do the same thing when it comes to buying age leads, door knocking, presentations, and so on.
Sure. So first things first, it doesn't matter if I get off the phone or if I'm at somebody's house and I leave. The biggest thing, and my wife hates this, is the biggest thing is I forget exactly how that other appointment that I just left went, or that phone call went. And I forget that for two reasons. It don't matter if it was a good or a bad, but I forget it for that reason exactly. I don't want to take negative energy into another phone call. I don't want to take negative energy into a house that I just left. I mean, somebody could, tell me right at the door, hey, blah, 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 and then, go pound salt, and that's totally fine. But I've trained myself to think that no matter what this person says, good or bad, it doesn't matter. And that's how you go into another appointment or another phone call, and you don't bring any baggage, because that's how you go into another week. That's in, if you had a bad week last week, why are you worrying about last week? You don't need to. You need to worry about how you're going to be more productive. You need to, and that, a lot of people stress about stuff they can't control. And even though I say that, I do worry about that myself, but I think that's just our human nature. But if you're going to worry about something you can control. Worry about overspending on leads. Worry about overacting, or worry about doing a lot of production, a lot of, and when I say production, I mean activity, like doing more and more of anything that is good. They used to tell me, they told me in the military that don't, what did they say? I just remembered and forgot. They always said do something even if it's wrong, which you can kind of decipher that how you want to, but it is, you have to do something. If you sit and you're stagnant, the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to grow mold, and you're not going nowhere. But if you're doing something, you're bound to go out there. You're bound to hit that one person that was like, man, I've been waiting for somebody to come out here. I haven't heard from somebody. Or, you may get lucky and you'll be out there. Yeah, an agent was just out here last week. Oh, perfect. They tell you, and then you just go into that. So the age, I really wouldn't worry about how old the leads are. And I wouldn't worry about, how your appointment went before. Because, just like I said, if you go into an appointment that you just left the house beforehand and they're telling you to go pound salt, you're going to bring that energy in. So leave it at the door. No matter if it was a win or a loss, leave everything at the door and just go out there and give it your best.
Yes, sir.
I love that. I got a quick question, Rita. And actually, it's a multitude of questions, but we're going to start off with the first one. And we're going to just circle back really quickly to something that you mentioned earlier. And my question specifically for you is, what were the money management habits that you had very early on in your career that allowed you to be able to be in a position where you have financial freedom?
So I was broke.
No. Money management habits. So what are some things that you do?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what do you do with your money? How do you management, or how do your family do it? Can you kind of walk us through that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like I said, though, when I first got into the business, I was doing all these different little things to save as much as I could. So the biggest thing, and I got into the industry with debt. So I knew I knew the stressors of, hey, I got to make this sale. The biggest thing that I did was trying to invest in tomorrow with more production, more activity, more leads. Because that's the great thing about this business is you can invest more and more into this business, and you're going to get more and more. You can fail every day, but if you fail forward, that's a step forward. So as far as, like I said, money management, I would say save what you can, spend what you have to, and invest in yourself.
Right, and that's the issue I see right now, brother, is that you see a lot of agents don't have this concept of understanding the vehicle of success, because sometimes they buy leads. Let's say they buy 50 leads, no matter what leads they are, and then they stick with those leads, and then they are bad leads, they don't sell much, the people don't pick up, and now it's done. And then they go back to, right, and then they go back to different set of leads. Let me get more leads of this company, and then the same shit happen. They don't understand that you have to give yourself at least a 60-day to 90-day plan on no matter what you're doing. You fail or you're successful, keep going, keep buying. Like, the one thing that you and we used to do in the old days is that, if we're having a great month, we buy we'll buy leads. If we are having a horrible month, we buy 3 times more leads. So we were investing more when we were failing.
Exactly. Well, and that's honestly that's the truth. You cannot get around it, and that's the thing that people have to understand is, okay, are you going to get bad leads in a batch? Yes. Are you going to be 50% bad in the lead batch? Probably not. So if you're the one that's investing in leads and you're like, hey, Jetty, I just bought 50 age leads and I got, 15 direct mail. So I have 65 leads. Are you going to get 5 to 10 that are, a little bit, bad? Of course. I mean, but that's the thing. You always have to, especially when you're new, you always want to surround yourself with people that are doing better than you, because you will get those bad leads, but it's not the lead's fault. It could be your training. If you're brand new, and you're in this business, and like I said, you got all these leads and you're buying all these leads and you're watching these videos, you need to go with somebody close to you, or you need to talk with somebody higher than you that's excelling and figure out what is going on. The old company that I worked at, they were very, very big on training. And when I say big, it was to the point where I was like, I already know what I'm doing. I don't want to do this. But thank God I was in those sessions, because it just programmed me to always remember my training. And like I said, there's only 2 things that you can do in this business. And, it's either fail and succeed, and they're both in your hands. But there's no way that you can possibly fail if you are buying leads actively, meaning every week. If you are constantly striving to improve yourself, meaning studying the different companies' products, constantly reaching out to somebody that is doing better than you, and constantly going to work. The moment that you put down your pen, the moment you put down your little guru book, or the moment you stop buying leads, that's the moment you're starting to fail, and you don't even have to see it. You just are.
Yes, sir. No, word of wisdom, 100%. 100%, because imagine, you remember when we were working for the other IMO, and we were paying $30, $35 on direct mail, and they are hitting our credit card like, $600-$800 a week, and then you get the leads, and you try to make presentations, you try to door knock. At the beginning, you'd be like, these people, they don't want to buy this product. A lot of them, they say it wasn't even them. They did not fill up the card. They already have life insurance, right? So everyone 30. So I used to call it, the filet mignon of the complaints. Like, I'm going to spend $35 and you're gonna tell me you don't want it? Are you out of your mind? So these days, imagine this. How much would you be writing if you were doing 100% funded expense, nothing else? If you have 10 people calling you right on your phone or headset, 10 of them a day, and say, go ahead, make me your pitch. I want to hear it. Imagine if you cannot write $250,000 because you have 10 people right on your headset calling you, speaking to you about final expense, wouldn't you be closing 2-3 a day?
Oh, easily.
Out of 10.
I was already thinking about that. I was already thinking about that number, and that is not. I mean, even I don't know. I think the average is like 15 to 20. But I know me. I'm getting paid for my time, so I'm definitely closing at least 2 or 3.
Right. So imagine that. That's what they have right now, and sometimes. They don't want to spend so much time on more training and understanding, the human psychology of buying and making decisions. And then, sometimes agents, they say, I'm great at telesales. And then I listen to the recording and I'll be chewing my ears. I'm like, you need training, man. It's like you might think that you're doing the right thing, but you are not. That's why a lot of people
humble.
are being right. So that's why when you say training, I just hope our listeners, they understand that we are all students of the game. Jamal and I, we learn all the time. We share each other's videos from other people to learn. So, if you are doing telesales and you are not selling, you personally is not the issue. Your knowledge is the issue. Go back and learn, listen to recordings, study, understand, the human psychology in buying, and, learn about, when people say no, what they mean. So, I know in the field, I don't like people. They don't want to open the door. I just don't like them. On telesales, it's a little bit different. But I hope that if anyone from these listeners can take something away from you, is being on the field, because you are on the field. Can you please address that? Are you having some issues? Are people saying, don't come to my house? When you call people, are they saying, hey, it's Corona, don't come in? Because it seems like you're doing very, very well. How has it been, you approaching these people, and how many people are you seeing a day?
So, so first of all,
can I add to that question before you answer? Can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you also explain, and I think this is the perfect time to circle back, kind of what your business model is now, a little bit more specifically, because you don't lead with final expense anymore, correct?
I am transitioning into full-on Medicare, correct.
Let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about that. Yeah, add that to there as far as what you're doing now and kind of how you've been able to transition during COVID.
Okay. So I'll let's see here. So, well, I guess that's the thing. When you think about telesales, right? You are getting a live direct line to this person. So you have 5, maybe 10 seconds to get your whole point out to these people on the phone. I mean, even when you do appointment setting, that's why I love appointment setting, is because I can feel out my client before I even get there. So I know exactly what type of person they're going to be. If somebody says they're not really interested, I'm showing up at their house. If somebody says, do not come to my house, I'm at the point in my career that I'm not going to, but I would also advise people, as long as, if you want to remain compliant and stuff like that, and not get shot, figure out which ones you can go and see because they're a little bit confused, and figure out which ones are a hard no. Because I'm not going to drive 25 minutes out to see somebody and no is exactly what they're going to tell me every time. Sometimes people just need to, be seen in person. Some people believe that there's a lot of scams out, especially because of COVID right now. So getting yourself out there and showing them the form they filled out, or bringing the recording to the house is another thing. I have done telesales. I was pretty successful, but like I said, it's not my niche. But like I said, once again, going back to the no, you're only going to get told no so many times. So going out there, hitting the pavement, hitting the doors, and just doing what somebody is telling you, your mentors, your trainers are telling you to do. They're not telling you, that because they want to laugh at you. They want you to, succeed. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, does my trainer or does my mentor want me to succeed more than myself? Because if you say yes, then you're in the wrong business, and you're not here for what you're here for. So, you know, that's what I would say about that. I would always just say activity, and training, till you get to the point where you're writing a decent amount of business, and you can be like, oh, okay, I can let off the gas a little bit. Now, as far as like transitioning, like I said, I first started doing, you know, final expense, which is good because I was good at it. And I heard about this Medicare. I'm like, Medicare, I don't want to do that. I just want to do final expense, especially knowing how much it pays up front. But then I started, you know, introducing it into my business model. And like I said, I haven't really seen too much of it up until this year, when I just got a nice residual check, and I know that I'm going to get almost, you know, a decent amount every month for work I just did last year. And that really, really excited me, because I was like,
that's a good feeling, isn't it? That's a really good feeling.
Yeah, you just wake up and then boom, here's a couple $1,000 check for just, you know, helping a client. So, and that's where, like, this year, really what I'm going to try and focus on is just helping as many people as I can with the Medicare. And then if I can help other people with final expense, I can, you know, definitely throw that in there as well. The biggest thing you have to remember is being compliant, because you can lose your license very easily with that. So that is one of the things that also scares me. But remember, I told you earlier in this conversation, if you're not afraid of something and you're not scared, you're never going to move forward, because you need that. You need to be afraid. You know, that's at least that's what drives me. But having more streams of income is definitely what is motivating me to push this Medicare, especially people that, you know, people want to see you when you go and you call them, or they call you, or whatever the case may be. And you're really honestly helping them a lot, because their healthcare they use all the time. So it's like, if you could save them money here, you could save them money there. I mean, it's just incredible. I sat down with somebody the other, it wasn't the other week, but I think it was like last month. They had private insurance, and it was through a retirement, which a lot of people, you know, think when you got a retirement package, oh, it's good. It wasn't. It was costing this client like over $280 just for their plan, and their drug coverage was another $100 something. So they're spending almost $500 a month plus their Part B, so they're over $600. I walked in there and was able to help the client save about, you know, $400 a month, and it was one of the best feelings I ever had.
That is single-handedly the best feeling in the world, being able to put people in a much better position. I want to take a step back really quickly with you, because when you think about Medicare and kind of what it is and final expense and just this business as a whole, or just business as a whole. I remember I went to In-N-Out Burger. I can't remember what day it was. I think it was Saturday. But, you know, In-N-Out Burger was founded in 1941. They got four things on their menu. You know, you got burgers, you got fries, you got milkshakes, you got soda. That's it. That's all they sell. And what I noticed about their business model that I think is relatable to this is that everything they sell is synergistic. And some of the worst restaurants that I've ever been to, they try to do everything that they end up not doing anything really well. And I think with this business, it's the same thing. So when you think about working in the senior market, I think when you are actually going to be a producer, a real producer, you have to be able to sell the products that are synergistic with each other. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the final expense and the Medicare, they marry so well together that you have to be able to incorporate them both together. Is that kind of the approach that you took, is aligning the synergies where they already exist and finding ways where you can make sure that you provide more value to your client? Or what was the motivation for you to transition from final expense specifically to just Medicare, or lead with Medicare, I should say?
Well, and this is kind of a little bit of a touchy subject, just because there's a lot of compliance that has to be taken, before you can even do anything. So the main thing is when I lead with my Medicare because that's why I'm there. You can go back once they're your clients and everything like that. But mainly just, mainly going out there and mastering one craft at a time is what you need to do. You don't want to take on Medicare when you have no idea how to sell somebody. Personally, I did not understand Medicare that well. Now I think Medicare is like the easiest thing since sliced bread, and I mean that. It's actually easier than Final Expense because you don't you take the pressure off of selling. Once you're licensed with so many different companies, the benefits explain themselves. You're just like, well, here it is. This is what your new, benefit package is going to be. So that is why I'm transitioning. I know people say don't always take the easier route, but in this case, I'm going to take the easier route just because once you get, a couple hundred clients under your belt and you get paid 20 or whatever dollars it is a month per client, you get 400 clients under your belt, you're making $8,000 a month and you don't even have to go to work. We would hope you would still go to work, but I definitely will. But that's the good thing, with the whole Final Expense, it doesn't really pay too much in the long run. So once you leave that client's house, you're done pretty much. But with the Medicare, it keeps on going. So it's nice to always mix, Final Expense with Medicare. You just, like I said, again, you have to be very, very cautious with your compliancy. So that's what I would say.
Now,
as far as that.
Now, as far as client acquisition, because this is the other part that becomes a hassle because you're not spending the same. I think a Final Expense lead and a Medicare lead, they're the same person. They're the same person. Mm-hmm. It just depends on what you say to them and how you talk to them. But, when you think about client acquisition, what are your strategies now to acquire customers, specifically leading with Medicare?
I solicit them for Medicare.
Yes, but how do you do that? What type of leads are you working? How many are you working? What is that process look like?
Okay. So right now I'm working LIS, and I use Facebook or direct mail. I've actually, so this is how much of a hustler I am. I've actually made and I use my own Medicare LIS lead that is compliant. Because I just got to the point where I was like, why am I paying other people, for something that I'm investing in myself? And especially what happens if that vendor goes out of business? Am I going to be able to use somebody? Am I going to be able to use leads? So over the course of, like I said, 6 months, 7 months, a year, whatever it was, I just took different parts and pieces of what everyone else was doing, and made it my own, so that way I know exactly what's going into that lead. I know exactly what the client is reading. So when they call me or I call them, they know exactly what that phone conversation is. So that way you're not getting blown off, that way people are like, there's no way I didn't fill this out. Well, ma'am, do you remember blah, 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 blah? And yeah, you'll get that one or two that don't remember, but that's just our market.
And how many leads are you working per week or per day? And
okay. So I order myself right now. Last week I did about 45 to 50. Whenever I want to grind and I do a big week, I do about 6 to 7 appointments a day. And I work about 5 days a week. Right now, due to COVID and stuff like that, I have dialed it back a little bit, just the start of the year, because we were getting a spike. So I'm only working about 4 days in the field. But yeah, so about like anywhere from like 35, I would say would be the minimum for me. 35 to 50 leads a week. Facebook, direct mail, whatever I can get my hands on that I can get in front of people.
And are you door knocking these Medicare leads specifically, or are you setting these appointments as well?
No. So you cannot door knock Medicare leads. You have to set the appointment over phone.
Beautiful. I love that, man. So do you have an appointment setter, or are you setting all your appointments yourself?
So I did have an appointment setter. We just had to stop at the time. So I am still looking for one. But now what I'm doing is I'm just setting my appointments myself.
Man, that's incredible. And, as far as the conversion ratios on Medicare, what are you experiencing right now on those LIS Medicare leads? What is your conversion ratio?
Probably 75%, at least.
Damn.
60 to 75%.
Damn.
That's a dream. That's
So
incredible.
you're using the LIS direct mail?
No, I'm using, like I said, my own tethered Facebook leads.
LIS
direct
Facebook,
mail,
yes.
Yeah, the direct mail is really good. When it comes to most of the final expense, because like I said, you can't door knock somebody for Medicare, you'll lose your license.
Yeah, of course.
But it does help when you go, to the Medicare lead sometimes, and somebody's like, well, I remember something. That's why I'm kind of a little confused or whatever, and then you show them. That's why I say it's always good to have a piece of paper with a lead, and that's why I love it, is because, like, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, there's your signature right there. That is your handwriting. I'm not out here, and I usually show them the stack of people. I'm not out here just forging people's stuff to get into their house. I'm actually, I show them my ID, my license, whatever. But yeah, I truly find that the Medicare conversion rate for me is pretty significant. I would say out of 5 appointments, I definitely close at least 3 of them.
Man, that's fantastic. And as far as if you feel comfortable sharing this, how much are you paying per lead at the current moment? What's your average?
Yeah, no.
That's fine. That's perfectly okay.
About anywhere from my cost, I can get them between $5 and $9.
Oh,
so
that's incredible.
That's me doing it. Yeah. Other competitors, I don't know what they charge, 20, 25 now. And that's what I was saying. So I'm getting like I said, it goes back to, once again, my standard is I want to build my business, and the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to be self-sufficient. And if I'm going to pay somebody $20 or $25 for a lead, I want to figure out how to get it cheaper. But I also want them to, meaning the client, understand it's, I want it to be a very well lead. I don't want somebody just to, sign up and then I get there and it's going to be garbage. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to be innovative and try and figure out how I can get into a house as cheap as I can with getting the most information out to the client. And I want them to understand why I'm there.
Yes, sir. And I see that a lot of people right now, they are back on the field. If they were struggling on telesales, just buy age leads, a year old, call, make appointments, door knock. It is impossible. It is impossible for anyone who buys the leads who will write at least $3 grand a week. Like, impossible. It's like, sometimes I talk to agents, I'm like, you cannot not write $2,500 a week, either on telesales or field sales. You just can't.
Right.
Do you disagree?
No, I don't disagree, because I know right now I can go in my email and print off 200 leads and go out there and write 10, 15 grand easily for the month. Easily.
Right.
I know I can.
I remember the one thing that Jamal did once, which shocked all of us. He wanted to prove that age leads, work. Any leads work, as long as they are TCP and DNC compliant, as long as, there is no litigators, So Jamal took this guy off the street. I think he was a real estate agent who was struggling, and he gave him, I think, 900? How many leads did you give him, Jamal?
I gave him 500 old leads.
He gave him 500 very old leads, bro.
But this is what's crazy about that situation, Rita. I told him at the beginning, these were fresh leads.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, man. He treated them. He treated them like they were fresh leads. He didn't treat them like they were old. And then
exactly. Yep.
Yeah. That's the problem I see is, if you tell somebody something's old, they treat them like they're old and they don't work them. Like if somebody thinks this stuff is fresh, they treat it like it's fresh. And it's more of a psychological thing than I feel like it's anything else.
And you're right. He gave him all of these old leads, right, bro? And he said, go out there. These are fresh leads, right? Because he wants to see his mentality being straight, right? So the guy goes out there and then he started writing business. And he's writing like, $6,000-$7,000 a week. And he's like, wow, these leads are great. And I'm like, Jamal, what leads did you give him? He goes, bro, those are like freaking since dinosaur time. But,
no, and what's crazier than that, Rita, these were all the leads that either no-showed me, told me they weren't interested, or did not answer the phone. And I gave him one rule. I said, you have to go see these people. You can't call them. You got to go see him.
No, I remember the guy wrote, I think, over $34,000.
Off of that single batch alone, he wrote $90,000 in annual premium.
So imagine, I swear to God, I mean, there is a video of him on YouTube, talking about what we're talking about. The guy wrote almost $100,000 with like old leads. And he was like, this is it. The mentality is just shifting and different. People don't want to work anymore. People don't want to take chances. People don't want to go in the field. People don't want to drive. People don't want to work. This COVID kind of slows down everyone, and everyone is trying to make the easy money. You got to hustle. If you're not making money on the phone, get your ass out, buy leads, go door knock, go make presentations, and go sell. That's what works. Nothing else works. You can go rob a bank.
Can I make a statement real quick?
Yeah, of course.
So here's another thing. Whenever I get lazy, right? Because we all do. I always think about if it's a crappy day out and I'm being lazy, what is everybody else doing? They're at home. That is the best time when it's pouring down rain and you don't want to work. That is the best time to go out and work because people are going to be home. Today is a holiday. People are going to be home. You know what I mean? So I would think about use your laziness as use your laziness as a motivator. Like I know somebody else is at home right now. I know, okay, yeah, maybe 3 or 4 people will be home out of 10, but I'll tell you what, that 3 or 4 people is all you need to write a $1,000 sale. You just made $1,000 in a day.
I like what you just said. I love what you just said. And I feel like there needs to be an understanding that you can be lazy, but you need to be productive. I feel like so often people are just lazy. They're lazy. They don't want to do anything. And then when they have an opportunity to do something, they kind of just fumble around, do a little bit of something, but they're not productive. I know a lot of very successful people that are really lazy. They're really lazy. I'm like, spend some time with these people. I'm like, how do you get here? Yeah. And then you look at it and you see when they work, they really work. They're not playing. It's not a game. They are extremely productive when they're working. And I feel like that's kind of what you're talking about to a certain extent where.
Yep, that's me, Jamal. That is me today, I'll say.
No, that's me too. I'm like that too. I know there's a lot of things I don't like doing, but when I do work, I work, and it's not a game, and we're going to get stuff done. And I know you're the exact same way. I know you're the exact same way because you like to play hard as well, and you have a good time, man. I love that.
No doubt.
We got to wrap up here, you guys. I really enjoyed this conversation, Jedi. I really appreciate you taking the time with us. If you were just getting started.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to close out with this, and I want you to kind of have your final thoughts. If you were getting started all over again, and you were new to this business, what would be some of the practical things that you would tell yourself in order to ensure that you get started, not only quickly, but also profitably to make sure that you have long-term success?
What would I tell myself?
What would you tell yourself again, knowing what you know now?
Well, I would just tell myself not to listen to anybody and just do it. because at the end of the day, like I said, obviously your managers and your mentors are going to be there, but this is a business. This is your business. You know, you're an independent broker, so make it your business. I guess that would be my statement to myself is, you know,
treat it like
do what you're going to do. Yeah, do what you're going to do. Learn as much as you can, and you know, treat it like you can't get a job anywhere else. And if you do that, then you're always going to succeed.
Yes, sir. We
There's no
appreciate
going back,
you.
you know.
Yeah, no, we really appreciate you. You've said a lot of wonderful things, and I hope that a lot of our listeners, they learn, you know, and pick on what you said and just implement it on the field or on telesales and learn about the Medicare and so on. But we surely appreciate you so much. We know that Monday is very busy for you. You took the time, and, you know, we truly appreciate you.
Yes, Jedi. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, it's been a little bit crazy of a morning here, but I'm glad I was here. I'm glad that you guys invited me, and like I said, if I'm able to help you guys in any way, you know, just even by telling a little story about me, my success, I'm grateful to do that. So
I appreciate you. We really appreciate you. You know, and there's a lot of new agents who are listening to you and taking notes, and, you know, nothing but love and sharing information with one another and just help each other grow. You know, this business is so big for all of us to you know, to grow together, you know, either with same company,
sure.
different companies, anything, just help people, just go work.
So Jedi, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to connect with you, man?
My cell phone. You want me to give it out?
Man, do what you want to do, man. What's the best way to get connected?
Yeah, for sure. If somebody wants to reach me, they can just, I would prefer a text first, just because I do have a lot of stuff going on all the time. If you want to go ahead and text me, and then we can, you know, set up a phone call if you want to talk. My number is 216-704-8528.
Perfect.
Just shoot me a text with your name and just let me know that you want to get some time or whatnot. And like I said, I'll definitely make some time to try and see what I can do to help you out.
Yeah.
Perfect. We'll add that into the description for everybody that's going to be listening to this recording. Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Results Over Reasons. Please like this, share it, subscribe. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a fantastic day, everybody. It's Monday. It is 8:22 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. It is 10:22 Eastern Standard Time. It is Monday, you guys. It's a new week. It's a new beginning. We got half a month left. Let's go make some money, everybody. Everybody
Amen.
have a fantastic day.
Thank you, Jamal. God bless you all.
Yep.
We appreciate you, bro.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Have a fantastic day, everybody.